It was a day of blunt frankness and cautious interventions as Nigeria's former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and the Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, Mr. Peter Obi, took turns to carpet the practice of democracy in Nigeria. The occasion was the colloquium titled "Has Democracy Failed in Africa?" Organized to mark the 60th birthday of former Governor of Imo State, His Excellency Chief Emeka Ihedioha, which took place at Ladi Kwali Hall of Abuja Continental Hotel on Monday, 24th March 2025. While Obasanjo relied on the disconnect between the classical definition of democracy and development in Nigeria to warn that democracy was dying in the country, Peter Obi, blunt as ever, delved into his trademark demographic prowess and empirical examples to state emphatically that democracy was dead in the country. But not everyone at the occasion agreed. Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Most Reverend Dr. Matthew Hassan Kukah, who was the guest speaker at the occasion, as well as former governor of Sokoto State, Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, both said that democracy in Nigeria was work in progress. President Obasanjo, former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Hon Benjamin Kalu, former Secretary General of Commonwealth Chief Emeka Anyaoku, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah and Mr. Peter Obi headlined the high net worth dignitaries that thronged the Ladi Kwali Hall to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of a man who some say may well be one of the pillars around whom a new political alignment is about to crystallize. The colloquium was a part of the three-phase event which started on Sunday, 23rd March, with a Thanksgiving service at the St James Anglican Church, Asokoro, and ended with a dinner in celebration of the seasoned politician, former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, and former Imo State Governor, Chief Emeka Ihedioha. Former Governor of Osun State, Olagunsonye Oyinlola, spearheaded the roll call of former governors at the occasion. Others were Achike Udenwa, Imo State Governor between 1999 to 2007, Senator Sam Egu, Ebonyi State Governor between 1999 and 2007, Donald Duke, Cross River State Governor between 1999 and 2007, the Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, River State Governor between 2007 and 2015, Chief Ihedioha, Imo State Governor between 2007 and 2013, Senator Siriake Dixon, Bayelsa State Governor between 2007 and 2015, Right Honorable Amini Masari, Katsina State Governor Kayode Fayemi, Ekiti State Governor between 2018 and 2022. Other dignitaries who graced the occasion were primates of the Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, Bishop Henry Chukwudum Ndukuba, two former Senate presidents, Chief Ken Nnamani and Senator David Mark, one-time Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dr. Austin Okpara, the Senator representing Abia South Senatorial District, Chief Eyinaya Abaribe, former Minister of State for Education, Honorable Emeka Nwajuba, Senator Frank Ibezim, Honorable C.Y. Maduabum, former National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Chief Uche Secondus, DG Southeast Governors Forum, Senator Uche Ekunife, former Ambassador of Nigeria to Austria, Honorable Jerry Ugwoke, retired Deputy Comptroller General of Customs, Julius Nwagu, CEO Gavinta and Associates Limited, and the True Vision Media Group, Mr. Ima Agu, former Permanent Secretary in the FCT, Chief Johnny Chukwu, astute banker, Mr. Ano Anyanwu, one-time Chairman of the FCT Scholarship Board, Honorable Alex Emeziem, and Marketing Communication Guru and CEO of Alliance Media Limited, Dr. T.O.E. Ekechi. The chairman of the occasion, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his speech, described the celebrant as a near-perfect man and a man of integrity. He expressed his admiration for how well he has upheld his good name.
This is a day that we are all happy to be here with you, to celebrate with you, and to share the joy of this day with you. The little I know about you is that you are a determined man. There's no perfect human being. But the little also that I know about you, you are almost a perfect human being. Again, the little I know about you, you take things as they come. And you are unperturbed by even the seeming and apparent injustice when they come to you.
Speaking on the topic of the day, he said that democracy is supposed to be a system of government that delivers to all the people and not just a few people.
But when we talk of democracy, we should remember that in Africa, before the colonial rule and the colonial power, we have a form of government which attended to the needs of our people. And whatever you call it, to me, it is democracy. Because what is democracy about? The American President Abraham Lincoln defined it as government of the people, by the people, for the people. Democracy is meant to be a system of government that delivers, and delivers to all the people, not just a section of the people, not just a few. But what do we have today?
According to him, democracy in Africa has failed because it does not have any aspects of the African culture.
I believe since we gone past the Greek democracy, which brought everybody to the square, and everybody has a say in the decision making, which affects everybody, or which affected everybody. Democracy has now become representative democracy. And representative democracy has not taken care of everybody. Today we have democracy, which is government of the people, of small number of people, by a small number of people, over large number of people who are deprived of what they need to have in life. Now that is not democracy that will endure. So if you are talking of democracy failing in Africa, democracy in Africa has failed. And why has it failed? Because it didn't have any, in context and in content, it's not African. It does not have any aspect of our culture, our way of life, what we stand for, what we believe, Ubuntu. I am because we are. It is, I am because I can grab. What sort of democracy brings you and you grab everything and then illegally, corruptly, and you say go to court? It's not that democracy is failing. democracy is dying. And if we are going to make democracy not to die, we have to look at democracy in the context and in the content of Africa. I hope that we will get to that stage so that democracy which will deliver will be the democracy that we will have.
The keynote speaker, Bishop Hassan Kukah, in his speech said democracy cannot work equally for all. According to him, democracy is a work in progress and we need a mechanism for growth measurement. For him, it requires all hands on deck to thrive.
The question to ask is democracy passing anywhere? Is there any part of the world that democracy is successful? You know, Leo Tolstoy once said, all happy families are happy in the same way, but all unhappy families are unhappy differently. So why democracy will be working? The pretend that it's not working, and President Obasanjo made the point that it is successful, it is working for many people. Because we can see from the changes in their lifestyle, the measurable changes in their accounts, the measurable changes in the opportunities available to them. So for those, democracy is working. For those who may have failed and are still waiting, democracy may still work. But even in Athens, not everybody was at the square. Children were not in the square, women were not in the square, poor people were not in the square. And of course, the notion of representative democracy is because all of us cannot be in the same. But even if all of us are in the same room, I tell people, even if you go to Harvard, they fail exam for Harvard. You go to Cambridge, some people they fail. So we can, even if we are in one room, not only are our views different, our capacities and our competencies are different. The point I'm making is that democracy is a work in progress. And with all these imperfections, it must be admitted that the essence, that is why democracy must have an erasure. You make a mistake, you correct it. You make a mistake, you correct it. The challenge for us in Nigeria is that every time, and I think it was my friend Atiku who made the point, he said that the problem in Nigeria, everybody who comes as governor wants to go back to the bottom of the hill to start something completely different. If we do not have a mechanism by which we are measuring our growth, then our chest for a democratic society becomes an empty chest. So, however, the point you make is that democracy and its principles are an endless contestation, both of ideas, of opportunities, and privilege. Because those who are privileged want to hold on to their privileges, and those who are the victims want to insist that life can be better.
He added that despite the fact that Africa inherited democracy from the Western world, notwithstanding, we have all it takes to make it work.
So the challenge therefore is, we as Africans inherited a system we were not in the room. Okay? But it's still not enough to say that because democracy is a Western construct, therefore it is inimical to our culture. You know, I always say to my people, especially at marriages, when you hear a Nigerian who is married in the Catholic Church, when he wants to start behaving badly, you start saying, according to African culture. That is, he wants to marry a second wife. Catholic Church says, marry a second wife. So we cannot, on one side of our mouth, say that because democracy is a Western construct, therefore it isn't relevant to us. Because the reality of our life is defined by Western constructs and Western mindsets. And in any case, the world has come to a point where it's no longer a question of where you stand. All the walls of division have collapsed. The question therefore is that the inability of our system to deliver on the principles of democracy is not out of bad will. It is largely because we've not dealt with the whole question of who and who are delivering on the services. How do we measure democracy, the benefits of democracy? We all understand that at the end of it all, democracy hangs on principles such as, for example, democracy promises cultural and religious freedom. That's why the First Amendment in the American Constitution, First Amendment, was to insert the freedom of religion and freedom of speech and freedom of the press. You cannot hope to be in a democracy if the media does not have the opportunity to do its job. Okay? The second point is the essence of democracy is the defense of human rights, anchored on the principles of equity and fairness.
Speaking during a panel discussion, former governor of Sokoto State, Senator Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, noted that democracy has not failed, as it is a work in progress that, if followed accurately, gives great results.
We have seen how government handled near similar issues differently. So I would like to say that it has more to do with the operators of a democratic system at a given time. If they play by the rules and they follow due process, democracy works. If they do otherwise, of course, it will be failure. So in that case, I would say it falters, it gets up, is work in progress. And I believe that we should not lose sight of the fact that democracy for now in Nigeria is the best system of government that we can have. And it is our responsibility as players to walk the walk and walk the talk and ensure that it works in Nigeria and in Africa.
But to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Mr. Peter Obi, democracy has failed in Nigeria given the current reality as compared to when it was adopted fully in 1999.
Look at what Bishop Kukah said. He said it's a work in progress. Let me follow my brother when he said about 1999. If you look at where we are today, it's like they started in 1999, laid the foundation. Some people came and took it to a decking, and some people were trying to raise it to first floor, and some people came and knocked everything down. Indonesia is 280 million, and coincidentally, the country with the highest number of Muslims. We should look at their democracy. They have what we call proportional representative. That is what I've always championed and we should do. You cannot have, let me even go back, no country in the past 3 years conducted election have less than 30% of registered voters participate in the election and they held it. Everyone was go and check from South Africa to Mexico to Indonesia. They were not less than 60%. Nigeria was 23% of registered voters. In that 23%, Nigeria is the only country where you can be declared a winner without receiving 50% plus one of the vote. Our own was 37%. And there's no proportional representation, which is why you can have opposition here. Because if you had that, what is said would have happened. Because the person there now have 37% of the vote, call it 40. In the Senate, would have 44 members. PDP, with their leader, would have had about 34 members, and Labour would have had 24. In fact, we should have actually formed government. You cannot have a minority person sitting in government with everything, chasing everybody out, destroying everything. We must change it and have proportional representation so that we can give you more benefit. That's how we want. And when we do that, go and see it in Indonesia. In Indonesia, President's party, not the, but they have proportional representative, which brings proper checks and balances. Like he said, it's the operators. That's why I said it's fair. His argument showed that it's failing. Because the operators now have failed it. That is one will go back, it is failing.
Heartfelt messages were given by prominent Nigerians to celebrate with His Excellency Emeka Ihedioha. Amongst them were former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Commonwealth Secretary General Chief Emeka Anyaoku, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations Amina Mohammed, and the Director General of World Trade Organization Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala.
Emeka, which actually started early 90s in Lagos. I had just established a printing press to fight the military, the weak magazine, and then of in search of people to manage that magazine. My former special assistant, Chris Mama, brought on board Emeka, and together they managed the Week magazine successfully until I went into exile. Because Abacha's administration was so much against the Week magazine that I had to run into exile to the United States. Since then, Emeka and I have kept this relationship, and till today, I have found him extremely loyal, dedicated, and focused. Even though at one point in time we may find ourselves on different political divides, but we kept our relationship. And I think that testifies to the kind of person Emeka is. So let me use this opportunity. When he told me about this event, I was actually complaining. I said, Emeka, this is Ramadan, and then it is the last 10 days of Ramadan. In the last 10 days of Ramadan, we don't sleep in the night, we sleep during the day. He said, but I'll try and make it. I said, okay, I will make it. And here we are today. I'd like to and Mrs. Emeka Ihedioha. And happy returns of the day. Thank you.
First words must be to congratulate my namesake, as I would call him in popular parlance, Emeka. Is a man who has, in his signature green heart, achieved things that we should be celebrating on his 60th birthday. As we heard, he was a member of the House of Representatives for 12 years, rising to become the Deputy Speaker from 2011 to 2015. And he also served as the Executive Governor of Imo State from 2019 to 2020.
It's a pleasure to extend my warmest wishes to you on this special occasion, your 60th birthday. Welcome to the 6th floor. Today is not only a celebration of your life, but also recognition of your unwavering dedication to public service and democracy. From your tenure as Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, where you played a key role in legislative reforms, to your leadership as Governor in Imo State. And your steadfast commitment to strengthening institutions and advancing progress has left an impact in your state and Nigeria. As you reflect on this milestone, may you take pride in the legacy you continue to build. I hope the years ahead bring you even greater opportunities to contribute to the development of Nigeria and the advancement of the values you so deeply uphold. Wishing you a wonderful celebration and many more years of good health, fulfillment, and success.
I'm sorry I cannot be there with you all to celebrate, but I hope it goes well. At a time when the world is going through profound economic and social uncertainty, it is very clear to me that we in the country, and in Africa in particular, will have to look inside our own resources to see how we can rely on ourselves more. I hope that in this symposium you will take time to look at what we can do for ourselves and how we can do better to attract investment, to create jobs for our burgeoning youth. This is really where the pressure point lies for the future. I hope we can come up with solutions that will ensure a bright and better future for Nigerians. You are one of the most resourceful and energetic people that I know. And I hope you can apply some of that energy to creating viable pathways forward for our society in the Southeast and for Nigeria at large.
In his appreciation speech, the celebrant thanked all who had come all the way to celebrate him while showing his appreciation for the support he has received so far and pledged his unwavering stand to push democracy in Nigeria.
From President Obasanjo, who came, Vice President Abubakar, to every other person who is here, to all of you who have left all that you are doing, I understand, I appreciate. And so that's why when I'm out and about, attending functions of friends, my wife understands why I have to do that. Even when I come back very late at night, she knows why. Some of you have spent millions of naira to keep faith with me today. So now you understand, I understand. Some persons came from outside the country, you have an idea of the cost. And when we were commencing this process, some people felt we were going to discuss Emeka and the issues in Imo State. I'm happy you have seen that that is a matter in the past. That's not the subject. And the subject is not to talk about my future. But the subject is simply to gather Nigerians to talk about the well-being of our people and talk about democracy, which we believe in. I've lived my life pursuing the cause of democracy. And so when I take certain positions, it should be understood. I do not take positions because I like you or I don't like you, but because I believe that democracy remains the best form of governance in our land. And because I do no other business than pursuing this cause, it makes sense for me to do everything to sustain it. And I want to urge everyone that at times like this, that we should all rise and protect this institution. For me, I've been in legislature for 12 years. I've passed that to that institution, and so I remain committed to that institution. I had the privilege of serving in the executive as a staff and later as an elected governor. And so I would also protect that institution. And I think that judiciary is very fundamental in our stability. So I urge all men and women of goodwill, all of us gathered here, very distinguished Nigerians. From my home states, Governor Atiku is leading a team that includes former Governor Ihedioha and many others are serving senator. I'm at home with my people, we're at home. But it's important that we do everything we can without fear of favor and speaking truth to power to sustain and protect this institution, to protect democracy.
Ebere Aniebo for True Vision Online Television, the platform that democratizes the media space. Don't forget to follow, share, comment, and subscribe.